Bueno.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
No. No hay nada nuevo. Como no le preguntemos por la víspera de San Juan.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
People who believe.
No. Nada nuevo en los temas de conversación. Por lo que veo. Bueno. Pasábamos a despedirnos. Básicamente. Vamos a Jackson Square. A ver quién hay por aquí. Típicas bandas de blues, Ahun, etcétera. Todavía está el percusionista. Vamos a ver si hay algún mensaje nuevo.
Gabriel listens carefully to the drums and opens his radar book to translate. No veo nada que pueda interesar por aquí. Vamos a ver. Métete. Esto no debe ser nada. Ah, aquí advierten algo. A ver. La M, esta especie de H, la W, las dos cruces, sí. Esa parte está clara. Advierten. Ah, ahora. Para. No, solo hay una advertencia, por lo que estoy viendo. Como no significa algo esto. Y esto para abajo. Una rueda, no. Río, no. Esta luna más n lunas. ¿Puede ser eso? Porque pone un montón de test por n. Y luego una especie de pi y una especie de w. A ver. Pi hacia arriba, pi hacia abajo y la t. M T y T hacia abajo. No. T hacia abajo. No. Creo que eso lo acierten, Sí. Y luego pi. Algo que empiece con esa especie de pi.
esta página no. Y en esta tampoco, porque empiezan con la especie de doble. Y en esta tampoco, porque empiezan con las tres, la H con 3 patas. No parece que haya nada nuevo. Advertir. Advertir. No veo nada más. A ver, un segundito. Así podemos pausar la secuencia, que bien. Vale, un momento, a ver si veo algo. Vale, no veía nada más. Están como advirtiendo, no sé. Si habéis visto algún otro código me lo podéis decir. Nada, aquí lo típico. La banda Cajun, el puesto de Madame Lorelai ya ni está. No nos podemos despedir de ella. Qué pena. Vámonos, Gabriel. Vamos a otro lado porque esto no tiene futuro. No hay nada. En la Catedral de San Luis tampoco va a haber nada. Aquí tampoco va a haber nada. ¿Y en el cementerio? Veamos.
Gabriel's coded message is on the wall.
Ningún cambio aquí. Y por aquí tampoco, parece. Nada en nuestra tumba. Y nada por aquí. Bueno. Pues nada, vamos a hablar contigo, Wolfgang, a ver qué nos cuenta. Volvamos, señores.
Hello, beautiful. It's me.
The excitement of seeing you is killing me.
Bueno, procedamos a hacer esa llamada a Alemania.
I'm doing the best I can.
No, el teléfono, Gabriel.
I'm doing the best.
El teléfono.
I'm doing.
Ay, no estás muy colaborador hoy. El teléfono, gracias. Tres, 2, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3.
Guten Tag, Sie haben Schloss Ritter erreicht?
This is Gabriel Knight. Can I speak to Wolfgang, please?
Ja, Herr Knight. Einen Moment, bitte.
Gabriel, it's so good to hear your voice. I had such a dream last night.
There's a good reason for that, Uncle Wolfgang. We need to talk.
Gabriel fills in Wolfgang on the events of the previous evening.
It is even worse than I thought.
You bet it is. We have to talk about what I'm supposed to do.
Bueno, pues ahora que tenemos a tío Wolfgang al teléfono, vamos a preguntarle sobre todos los temas.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
It sounds as though you have learned much during your investigation in New Orleans. Perhaps you will fill me in when we have a chance to sit down and talk.
¿Y más en profundo?
What can you tell?
It sounds...
Nada. ¿Crímenes vudú?
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I know only what you have told me. They seem to be very similar to the killings in Gunther's journal.
¿Algo más?
What do you know about?
I know only what you have...
¿Sobre Nueva Orleans?
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
It was just another American city to me until I started dreaming about you. Now I feel it is not safe for you there. I wish you would leave.
What can you tell me?
I told you I wish you would leave there, Gabriel.
Vale. ¿Las supiste?
Do you know anything about snakes?
I have not studied the subject. I have an intense dislike for them.
¿Algo más?
Do you know?
I have not...
¿Víspera de San Juan?
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I'm afraid I've never heard of it.
¿Algo más?
What can you...
Nope. Caprice
Do
encore?
you have any idea what caprice encore means?
No, what does it mean?
It means goat without horns. It's a term used for human sacrifice in voodoo.
Well, let's hope we can avoid any more of that in this family.
Do you know anything?
I know only what you've
Yes.
told me, that it refers to human sacrifice.
Bueno, no sabe nada más.
Do
Marie
you know anything about Marie Laveau?
No, I'm afraid not.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
Yes. Tetlos people wear animal masks for their rituals, don't they? It is not at all uncommon. Many occult groups are based heavily on animal totems. Animals have such pure, primal traits. Spirituality, good or bad, is about reaching these pure levels. Aggressive and cunning like the snake. Agile and nurturing like the monkey. Even our family is associated with the image of a lion.
Ajá. ¿Más?
Tell me more about animal masks.
I've already given you what limited knowledge I have on the subject.
¿Y sobre los
Do you
bebés?
know anything about bebés?
It is a visual symbol of one or more loa.
Ajá.
Each loa has its own sign, which is used to summon it.
¿Algo más?
Do you know anything else about bebés?
I've already given you what limited knowledge I have on the subject.
Dámosla.
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
Damballa is a snake. He is a loa, a voodoo god.
Yes. He's one of the primary Loa of the Gedi tribe.
I see. Good work. That information might prove useful.
¿Algo más?
Do you know anything more about Damballa?
No, my knowledge of the loa is fairly limited.
Bueno. ¿Y algún batagui?
Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
It is a voodoo loa, is it not?
Yes, a particularly nasty one, so I understand. Have you come across anything about it in your research?
He seems to be feared by most voodoo groups. I haven't come across very much specific information.
¿Algo más?
Do you know anything else about Ogun Badagri?
I'm afraid I can't tell you any more about that.
Bueno. ¿Sobre el vudú negro?
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
The library contains many books on the occult and religions, and I have read about some particularly evil voodoo cults. But you, at this point, have more direct experience than I.
Do you know anything about...
I don't know anything that would help our current situation.
Vaya. Sobre los tambores rada.
Do you know anything about Rada drums?
Rada drums? You mean ceremonial drums?
Yes. The Gedi tribe uses drummers around the French Quarter as relay messengers to keep track of their business.
Those drums have a ceremonial use, too. It would be useful to know their code, Gabriel.
I had Grace find some information on them.
That's my boy.
¿Algo más?
Do you know anything about...
I don't know anything that could help you with that code, Gabriel.
Bueno, ya tenemos información sobre el código.
Tell me about yourself.
I hope there will be time for that later, Gabriel, after
esperemos
this
que
is all over. For now, we must deal with the matter at hand.
Tell me about...
I hope that...
Vale. ¿Qué es eso de Schattenjäger?
What can you tell me about Schattenjägers?
Yes, of course. I sometimes forget how little you know of the family, Gabriel. I never understood how Heinz could allow his sons to remain ignorant. But Now is not the time for that discussion. Schattenjäger is really two words in English, Gabriel. Schatten means shadow, and Jäger means hunter.
Shadow hunter.
Yes. Shadow hunter.
Más en
Tell
profundidad.
me more about Schattenjägers.
We Ritters have been Schattenjägers for many centuries. No one is sure when it began or how, but we have records of ancestors as early as the 13th century fulfilling this role. Some believe that the role was given us when... but such fantasies cannot be of use to you at the moment, Gabriel.
Ya. ¿Algo más?
Tell me more about Schattenjägers.
Most people are completely blind to the fact that evil does exist. It is out of vogue at the present, but I tell you, shadows of darkness, spirits, vampires, witches, demons, these things are real. It is to their advantage that the world has become so scientific, so cynical. But we know they exist, Gabriel, and we hunt them.
How do we hunt them? And why?
Why? Because it is our duty. We are the ones who know, Gabriel. As for how, that is something you will have to learn. But it is not easily explained over the phone.
Tell me more about Schattenjägers.
We can talk more about that later, Gabriel. For now, you know enough.
Vaya. Bueno, y sobre Tetelo.
Tell me about Tetelo.
Well, from your description of the ritual last night, I'd say that Gunther's mistress, Tetelo, is now the primary loa for the Gede tribe. It seems she still controls them by possessing her female descendants and speaking through them. You remember in Gunther's journal he said that Tetelo was possessed by her father's loa during the killings in Charleston?
This sounds similar, but Tetelo has obviously become a much more powerful loa than her father ever was. Probably because of the added power of the talisman.
Más sobre
Tell
Tetelo.
me more about Tetelo.
I believe she truly loved Gunther. After all, she was raised to be her father's daughter. Their religion was not a choice she made, but a duty she endured. How can she be blamed for that? The spirit she has become, that is a different matter. It is utterly evil. I am certain that the lower Tetela bears little resemblance to the woman Tetela was before the burning in Charleston.
¿Algo
Tell
más?
me more about Tetelo.
She once was a beautiful and intelligent woman, and she probably did not deserve Gunther's betrayal. But the Tetelo we fight now is more akin to her tribe's dark gods than to anything human in nature.
Y su maldad ha ido pasando de generación en generación hasta Malia.
Tell me more about Tetelo.
She once was a...
Vale. ¿Y el talismán?
Let's talk about the talisman.
I myself have only seen it in old sketches and paintings, and in my dreams. It was in the family for centuries before Tetelo took it. It is believed to be as old as the role of Schattenjäger itself. The talisman has genuine power. I don't know how or why, but it is so. The Schattenjägers swore to use the power for good, never for evil. For defense, not offense. Since it fell into Tetlo's hands, I'm afraid to think what the power has been used for, or what it will be used for in the future. With the talisman, Tetlo has all the power and we none. The only possible way to fight her is to regain the talisman. Then we will at least be on more equal footing.
¿Algo más?
How can we regain the talisman?
We've been searching for the talisman for years, ever since we lost it. It's a terrible thing to know that something powerful that was entrusted to us is in the wrong hands. The talisman is probably buried with Tetlo's remains. That's what gives her loa so much power.
¿Más sobre el talismán?
Is there anything else you can tell me about the talisman?
The most important thing about the talisman is that it be once again in the hands of the Schattenjägers.
Is there anything...
The most...
Vale. ¿Y sobre los restos de Tetelo?
How would we find Tetelo's remains?
Eso digo yo.
Ha! We have pondered that question a long time, thee Ritters. There are two probabilities. The first is that her remains are with the tribe at their current location. The other is that the remains were returned to a sacred place near the tribe's original homeland. We've tried to locate Tetlo's African homeland, but Gunther says so little in his journal about her tribe, and slaving records are practically non-existent. Also, Tetlo's tribe was utterly destroyed in its African form in the late 17th century. There was nothing like a census in Africa then. As for the other idea, we had no clue as to where Tetlo's people went after fleeing Charleston, until now.
Más.
How would we find Tetlo's
We must locate the tribe's original African homeland. Her remains might be there, or they might be in New Orleans, buried among her descendants.
Ajá, eso me da una idea, pero sigamos hablando.
How would we...
We must...
Let's discuss the possible African homeland.
All right. Have you learned anything that might help us locate it?
I spoke with the Professor Hartridge. Unfortunately for him, he thinks the tribe's name was Agri, and that they lived near the Fon tribe in what is now called the People's Republic of Benin.
That is incredible, Gabriel. I must go research this new information in my library right now.
Wait, what should I do?
Stay low. If you get a chance, you might look into the possibility that Tetlo's remains are somewhere in New Orleans. But don't try to broach their private areas without my assistance, Gabriel. You will make a fine Schattenjäger, but only if you are not dead.
Sure, I'll wait.
Bye then, Gabriel, and remember, if you need a place of safety, come to Schloss Ritter.
Goodbye, Uncle Wolfgang.
Ya estoy de vuelta.